After a series of frauds came to the light in banks, the government has apparently asked a thorough examination of all non-performing loans granted by NBFCs like PFC, REC as well. To discuss this in detail, we are joined on the phone line by Mr. P.V. Ramesh. He's Chairman and Managing Director of REC. Mr. Ramesh, good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. Is this true? The Financial Chronicle article claimed that there is an order for scrutiny of loans given out by companies, company like yours. Is this true?
First of all, good morning and thanks for having me. And
very good morning.
Very useful to clarify certain things. First and foremost, we've always been very scrupulous in managing our assets, both which are old, new, under construction, performing and otherwise. So we've been up to date. Actually, we've been more proactive than perhaps any other financial institution in terms of ensuring that our assets perform well. I am not aware of any special directive being received. Nevertheless, we are always alert and diligent in what we do, basically to protect the interests of our shareholders and to protect the interests of the company.
Okay, so no such order received by you as a company for sure?
That's for sure.
Okay, because the article says, Mr. Ramesh, good morning. The article says that, NBFC loan is now, it's nothing like a criminal matter, but because in light of what happened with PNB, and the government is saying rather than a whistleblower coming out later with such allegations, it is a preemptive action on, certain NBFCs. So that's what the article says. So you are sure that all your loans are up to date, there could be no issues that could come out later, and as per your knowledge, the ministry has not asked you anything as of now.
Yeah, good morning. You're absolutely right. It's an affirmative. My answer is the affirmative to all that you said. We are absolutely proactive in terms of monitoring and managing our assets. So there is absolutely no question of anything slipping by or anything that we are not aware of. And certainly the ministry is engaged with us on these matters to ensure that we are up to date on matters. In fact, we have special advisors. We have a separate unit for asset management unit, which we set up way back 8 months ago. And then we have KPMG as our consultants who work 24 hours for each of these assets.
Okay, Mr. Ramesh, just wanted to ask, since the new RBI norms have come out on stressed assets, which mean, certain schemes that were there earlier in terms of SDR, JLF, all of them have been withdrawn. What could be the impact on the fourth quarter in terms of NPA provisions for you? Could we see an elevated number this time around?
Let me say two things. One is it's still not clear whether these norms apply to the NBFCs and especially REC, which is in the long-term financing business. However, let me also say this, in all these cases, we are virtually, in almost all the private sector lending, we have been part of a consortium. And our exposure has been less than 15% of the total project lending to these assets. So we are basically working with the other financial institutions, which are most of them are banks. And these are large financial institutions to comply with the RBI norms. And I have no reason. We have done a review of what's likely to be the impact of the RBI guidelines of 12th February on our loan book as well as the assets. And I do not see any change in what we have done because we have taken advanced action in terms of provisioning wherever it is required. So we have taken advanced action to see that the assets that are stressed or de-stressed and made standard. And then with reference to the other cases, we are working with it, with our partners.
Okay, Mr. Ramesh, then just very quickly, you don't think that this will result in a headache for banks either? Because some power producers were saying that because the norms are so stringent, but there might be some delays, because of even a day's delay, they could be classified as NPAs and that could be a problem. You don't think that will be the case?
No, that could very well be the issue because as you are aware that the power sector, there is a dissonance between demand and supply. And though the demand is picking up, actually there's a growth of the demand growth of power has been quite active in the past 2-3 months. We would like to believe that the number of these projects which were struggling for DISCOM purchase of power are likely to come on board and become standard. But yes, I mean that risk is always there if there's a delayed payment by the companies, particularly the DISCOMs. That's exactly what we are working on through Uday because of our close connection by virtue of being the nodal agency for a number of government programs. We work very closely with the power utilities in the states. And one of our endeavor has been to ensure that there is a prompt payment to the suppliers.
Okay. Fair call. Mr. Ramesh, good having you. Thank you so much for taking the time out and giving us all those clarifications as well.